Okay, guys, so in this video, we are going to start doing some really hard math simplifications of for rational expressions. So just hang tight. I know it seems like it's hard, but all it is really just factoring. If you can factor, you can do every one of these. So all you have to do is just ask yourself, okay, let's go ahead and factor, and some factors should cancel, and if they do, then that's great. So we make something that looks really complicated and simplify it and make it really, really not so complicated. So let's see if we can take a look at it. Okay, so I'm going to look at three examples here. So example number one, you see over here. So there's your two quadratic expressions. Basic idea is that we want to factor each one and cancel that whatever they share, and they should share something, otherwise they're not going to be asking you to simplify it, right? So what we're going to do is do the numerator first, and then we're going to do the denominator, and something is going to cancel. Okay, I promise. So here we could put x, here we put x. Okay, so remember that when we factor by trial and error, we want two numbers such as we multiply them and we get -6, and then we add them and we get -5. So by now you should just do that stuff in your head, because the third exam is passed. So you already should know this and do it quick. So two numbers multiplied -6, so that should be something like -2 and 3, or 2 and -3. Okay, so which ones would work? So again, if I have -2 and 3, that adds up to +1, right? Okay, so but that's not the correct sum. Okay, but maybe 2 and -3, that adds up to -1. Oops, so that's not it. Okay, so what else could multiply to -6? Okay, so maybe 1 and -6. What was the sum there? Well, that would be -5. Okay, yes. So this would be my winning combination. So I've got x plus 1, x minus 6. Okay. Now for the second one, the two numbers that we're looking for should multiply to 6, +6 this time, and add to -7. So let's see what can happen. Okay, so two numbers have to multiply to a positive and add to a negative. That tells you that they're both got to be negative. So maybe -2, -3. That adds to what? -5. That doesn't work. Okay, so what else? How about -1, -6? Yes, that adds to -7. So okay, so this is my winning combination. So it's going to be x minus 1, x minus 6. And I can see that I did it right because I can see that there is a common factor that I can cancel, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and cross these out, the same ones, and then whatever is left is my answer. So I've got x plus 1 divided by x minus 1. See, so I started with something more complicated and I got this. This is my like final answer there. Okay. So now I want to do the same kind of thing in example number 2, except here is the problem. So the problem is that when you look on the bottom, you've got 64, which hopefully you already recognize is a perfect square. And then you also have x squared, but usually you would start with x squared. So you go x squared minus 64, not 64 minus x squared. So what they want you to do here is notice that these two things can be switched around. So you can switch the order. And when you switch the order, what happens is that a minus is gonna be pulled right in front of the expression. So basically, when you're subtracting two numbers, let's say you're doing 5 minus 3, if you switch, it becomes 3 minus 5. The answer is like the opposite of the original one. So that opposite would be this negative that is pulled in front of the expression. Other than that, the whole thing is just going to stay the same. So the top do not change. That I didn't do anything. But the bottom, I changed the order, and I have to also pull that minus. So this minus right here, that's because I changed the order. Once you do that, you do exact same thing as we did in the first example, except you just keep that minus. So don't forget that minus in the final answer. You have to have it, okay? So let's go ahead and factor. So on the top, you want two numbers that would multiply to -32, and they should add to -4. Okay, so I should go ahead and think about it right from the start. Now, one of the things that I gotta know is that it has to cancel with the bottom. The bottom is actually easier to factor. Notice that this is a difference of squares. So by now you should know that that's just x minus 8 multiplied by x plus 8. So this is gonna happen so many times. Sum squared minus something else squared is first number minus second number times first number plus second number. So that's that. And so the top should have one of these things, but I just don't know whether it's going to be x minus 8, x plus 8. So what two numbers would multiply to negative 32? Okay, so that could be like 4, negative 4 and 8, or it could be 4, negative 8. So let's see. So I think it's going to be this one because it has to add up to negative 4. Okay, so that would be x plus 4, x minus 8. Okay, so now that I factored, I noticed that something is happening, and that something that is happening is these two cancel out, and then the minus over there, that did not go anywhere. So you get x plus 4, x plus 8. Now, at this point, please do not ever try to cancel anything. So this x plus 4, x plus 8, you cannot simplify. You can never cancel at a plus sign. So if you see the plus, and you see, oh, there's x on the top, x on the bottom, why don't I just cancel it? No, you can't, okay? Because at the plus sign, it doesn't work. You can actually plug in some x value like 1, and you will see that it's not going to be the same. Like if I just cancel x, it'll be 4 over 8, which is 1/2. But if I plug x equals 1, that's going to be like 5 over 9. That's not 1/2, right? So that doesn't work, okay? So now the second one is very similar. I mean, the second one, the third example is very similar. So very quickly, what I'm going to do is just, I don't know where I have this weird sound, my phone probably. I'm sorry about that. So anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and switch the order on the bottom, so that becomes x squared minus 4, and on the top I'm going to go ahead and factor. So two numbers multiply to negative 18, so that probably will be 9 and 2, except they have to add to positive 7. So this would be plus, that would be minus. Okay, so factoring the bottom as difference of squares, as you already can see that that's just going to be x minus 2, x plus 2. And x minus 2, x minus 2 cancels. And so that's what you will have as the final answer there. And again, do not try to cancel x. And please don't forget that minus sign, okay?